In dealing with debt, due to the pandemic, Americans have shifted in the way that they pay off their bills. Joining us now is Matt Komos, Vice President of U.S. Research and Consulting for Transunion. Great to have you here, Matt. And what are the findings of the latest study?
Good morning, Angie. Thanks so much for having me. Our recent payment hierarchy study took a look at how consumers prioritize their debt. Now, this is a study that we have been looking at over the past decade. And one of the really compelling findings in this version of the study was that consumers, for the first time, actually prioritized mortgage accounts over auto loans and credit cards. That actually happened back in the fourth quarter of 2017, and that became even more pronounced during the pandemic. So this was a really interesting finding to us. And this, of course, is looking at consumers that have an auto loan, a credit card, and mortgage in their wallet.
When prioritizing payments, how does that affect credit scores or debt levels?
When we look at delinquency in this study, we're actually looking at kind of the earliest signs of distress. So we measure 30 days or more delinquent. So this is kind of the first indication that a consumer is struggling. So there will for sure be some kind of impact to credit score if a consumer falls behind on their bills. As we've talked about previously, it's important for consumers to reach out to their lenders, to be proactive if they find themselves in kind of a state of financial distress.
Did anything in the study surprise you, or maybe generationally there's something happening?
We actually took a look at consumers that only have one single credit card, right? So when you think about the consumer wallet, a consumer that only has one credit card needs to potentially protect that liquidity when they get into kind of duress or stress with regards to their finances. We found that credit cards for consumers that only had one credit card actually were prioritized above auto loans during the pandemic. So, as consumers were on lockdown, as they continued to shop from home, that credit card became ever more important relative to their auto, which they might not have even been using. So this was also a very interesting finding, and as a lender, I need to think about, who is the consumer that I'm serving? What type of wallet do they have? Do they have only one credit card or multiple? And understanding where, I might be prioritized in their repayment behavior.
Where can people go for additional information?
People can go to transunion.com/business, and that'll have some information on the payment hierarchy study.
Thank you, Matt, for being on our show.
Thanks so much for having me, Angie.
More Business First AM. Check us out on social media. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And go to businessfirstam.com for where to see our show on TV.